Um, I am back. Another little interruption. So, where were we? So, I was saying, God gave me this word, and I started doing ministry around it, and I saw a lot of impact. It was no doubt that it was such a positive and a great blessing in all the congregations that we managed to do missionary work with. But then I also realized that the message that I was given to take to the world is the same message that I slipped off, and it is the same traps that I was warning the world not to fall for that I ended up falling for. And when I decided to hear God's call to return back to ministry, I struggled to figure out how to begin, and God reminded me that we're going to start from where we left. So that's why we are at 1 John chapter 2, 15 and 16. Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world, because it itemizes three things that I want us to pay attention to: the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life. The lust of the flesh, and we will keep talking about this in detail, so don't worry. Every day we're gonna have this going on. I'm officially beginning with regular content creation on this message and many other messages that God will bring. So this is just the first of the projects that I had to start with a lot of courage, but don't worry, I'm gonna really expand and expound a lot on this subject. So lust of the flesh quickly represents the, the things, the experiences we get attached to at a very material level. At a very material level, we get attached to a lot of experiences, be it what we consume, be it our forms of entertainment and pleasure, and actualizing our desires and everything. We tend to get attached to those experiences, and that is what the Bible is calling the lust of the flesh. And then the lust of the eye is about our perceptions, our interpretations of experiences, that how we see the world in a way that attracts us away from what God wants us to be. So we might choose worldviews, we might choose perceptions, we might choose very attractive and very enchanting experiences. We might choose excitements, and we say that's because that's how we see it. And we might choose how we see our things and pursue that and get attached to those experiences, and that is the lust of the eye. And the pride of life is more about what we feel is our own sense of independence from the grace of God. It is us not being humble enough to know that we need to work with God's script for our lives to be the best it can be. It is us saying, I think I can do it differently, I can do it better from God. So there's a huge temptation, and I went through it, and I don't think we even explained it like this last time. There's a huge temptation to feel so independent from God, to feel so free from God. Like, I don't have to keep up with what God expects of me. I can be anything, anywhere, anyhow. And in my journey, I think I labeled it as freedom. It felt like freedom. I can do whatever I want to do, however I want to do, wherever I want to do, and nobody can stop me, and nobody can tell me nothing about it. So that is the pride of life. It's even about our own accomplishments, and we think because we have this and this accomplishment at a material level, at a social level, financial level, we say, oh, now I am made of something just because of the accomplishments that we attach our self-worth to. So those three things: lust of the flesh, lust of the eye, and the pride of life, don't forget about them, because for a long time we are going to be breaking it down, how it plays out in our lives and how it did in my own. Those three things, every time we get caught up in drama, there's always drama that draws you towards attachment to those three issues. The enemy will always create drama in your life that will make you want to prove a point, will create drama in your life that will make you want to feel more accomplished. Even the comparison, even the dissatisfaction with where you are, and just seeking to always live outside yourself and try to prove a point with external experiences. The enemy will always dangle something that will captivate you and capture you into attachment to the lust of the flesh, lust of the eye, and the pride of life. In my journey, it played out a lot in addiction to attention and a lot of relationships. I tried multiple romantic relationships that I think I used a lot of those experiences to prove a point to myself. And so I'm just giving an example of how this can play out. And the call today, and the reason why this project is starting, is God would like to easily and gracefully walk us out of that space. If you are honest with yourself, if you search yourself, you will easily see where you are caught up in any of these three stages of drama that the enemy sets up against our lives. And I pray that as we walk this journey together, God will teach us how to get out of those. One of the things I have learned, again, because this is just our first show, I'm not going to go for so long. I think I'm going to say what I feel God wants us to hear for today, and then we are going to call it a night. But I am going to have regular short videos and shorts through the week, but every week we're going to install a part of this teaching. The journey to the island. So God gave me that message, and I moved in it, and then I fell out of it. When I fell out of it, like I said already before, when I fell out of that message, I went into a huge tantrum where I was angry with God, where I decided to disown church, disown my faith, and at the same time I decided to choose the worst relationships than what would have been healthy for my marriage at that point. And I went down that direction, and I explored everything I wanted to explore, or I imagined I could explore to prove a point. And the outcome of that is it left me just with a higher desire to want to prove a point. By the time I was going to the island, I was already feeling a strong sense of isolation, and my spirit wanted to be isolated as a way of two things. God was trying to draw me away from the drama, but number two, I took my own interpretation of that isolation, and I said, being in the island is gonna mean that nobody cares about me. I am in a world of my own. I interpreted it as I am left to nothing and everything. And so I started tuning my mind, because I thought, okay, things have not worked in the city. By the time I was moving, I was scared of even how I'm going to pay rent. So I said, I better move out of this place. Things had not worked in the city, and I thought it's just a matter of just relocating and starting over. But feeling isolated made me feel like once I go there, I'm going to take a life there that I feel I can do whatever I want the way I want and not be accountable. And that's how it started going down. And I got hooked into these experiences. Now, I know that leaves a lot of questions and puzzles, but I am not going to go into so much detail right now. I want to share quickly words that I feel we should not end before we share. That one of the things God wants us to hear today is your first responsibility. Your first responsibility is to let go of the things that God has already pointed out for you to let go of. And that's how my recovery journey started, because from the first time I started my rebellion, I can't lie to you, I think God started looking for my attention as soon as then. But I kept refusing the lesson, and God decided that you are not going to make progress until you learn this lesson. So I kept wanting to go to the next level and refusing to deal with what God had already revealed to me. So I was asking God for outcomes. I was asking God for a level of healing, a level of miracles, a level of proving Himself, But God had already shown me things that needed to be paid attention to, and until I came around and said, and realized that the answer has always been with me, I could not get out of that prison of self-judgment, prison of feeling isolated, of anger, and all the conflicts I was having with people. So you can't look for success, and I felt God was telling me this directly. Like, Mboya, you can't look for success outside God to prove a point to God. You can't look for success outside God to prove that you do not need God. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. God already has a blueprint for our success. God already has a blueprint for our success. And part of the code to that is love not the world, the things that are in the world. Lust of the flesh, lust of the eye, and the pride of life. God is saying in the blueprint to success, first you want to remove these things. And I tried a different method, and I didn't go very far with it. We're going to be talking about it. So, as much as you choose to be rebellious and to resist the voice of God, the suffering that comes, I went through a lot of suffering that caused depression, anxiety. I'm still recovering from episodes of anxiety every once in a while. I have moved out of suicidal anxiety. I'm thankful that I no longer get such experiences. But once in a while, I'm still struggling with the effects of that. A lot of suffering happened. A lot of suffering happened internally. And it's because I was allowing my mind, because the mind can settle for deception, but the spirit cannot. The spirit cannot settle for deception. So the spirit suffers. You will lack joy. You will lack peace. You will lack a feeling of wholeness. There will be people around you. I had so many people partying with me, but that never made or allowed me to feel loved and cared for. You can let your mind settle for deception and say this is working, but suffering comes because your spirit is saying this is not it. And those are experiences I've learned, and I will be glad to share as God leads and as this rolls out. Thank you for listening. I am really sorry if this was too short and sweet. I'm not even started yet. It was important that we do this first episode to just let you know what's going on and what to expect. I'm going to be installing a lot more content every day of the week. So pray with me, stay with me, support me if you can. Because I've not been able to put together a proper production, thing. I just thought, let me light up the camera and do this. I'm trusting God for resources. If you want to be part of that, say it in the comments. I'll give you a number through which you can support me and just help me do this. There's hiring of this equipment. There's every work that is going to go into ministry and production. I have business projects, entrepreneurship projects that I will also be sharing during these programs, so that this ministry is able to support itself. I have products and services that I'll be talking to you about, things that I feel God has gifted me to just use to raise resources to support my family and to support this work. So I invite you to kindly stay with me. and support me, and above all, pray that this program will be a source of a voice, the voice of God to this generation. The fall of an ego and the rise of God. Thank you.